some fetish up here bashing Israel. Israel's run by the very same type technocrats that run our country. Their population has been rioting and protesting. But it needs to be pointed out. Wolf Blitzer, do you know what Wolf Blitzer did before he became CNN's main foreign correspondent? Back in 1990 or so. He was the head lobbyist for the large consortiums of Israeli government lobbyists in the United States, and connected directly at the highest levels of the Israeli government. I mean, if anybody is a foreign spy, it's Wolf Blitzer. He should be investigated for that. And it's the same thing with all these British agents and Russians, whatever. I am for America. I am for the sovereignty of our country. And, I mean, Wolf Blitzer, just go look at his background. So it's very interesting that he was running the show when that happened. Now, I'd give it a 20% chance the feed really did cut out. But reportedly from folks that have talked to him, the guy went on to point out Israel's got hundreds of nukes, which, by the way, CNN still won't say they have nukes. Since the Washington Post says it's rumored they have nukes. No, it's come out, their own scientists, major reports, Jane's Weapons Quarterly, CIA reports. Israel a decade ago reportedly had 400 of high-tech design. Some estimates are as high as 800. They bought race-specific bioweapons from South Africa. This has all come out. So that's probably why they cut the feed. Because reportedly, according to Julio, who's given us good info in the past, but he's having trouble sending us the MP3 right now, he got into all of that. In fact, is Julio even still holding there? Because I know I was going to get him on his... Well, let's go back to him. I understand computers being on the fridge. You got to go to the library. Just get it to us so we can play it. But what do you make of that whole exchange and what happened?
Oh, sorry, Alex. I'm on speaker. Hold on 1 second. Let me get you off.
That's okay. I know you were just on hold, so we could try to get that audio from you. You could almost just plug your MP3 into the computer and play it over air for us.
It's still in the works right now. I'm actually converting it because it was in some weird file. Hold on a second, Alex. Okay, can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What do you make of CNN? Yeah, go ahead.
Being there last night, I want to make it clear to everyone out there, there was perfect connection wirelessly, satellite-wise, between all the major networks. Not one network that was covering Paul in Ankeny last night had any satellite issues whatsoever. Watching that interview take place, I thought my buddy of mine was trying to get on CNN. He was like waving towards the camera. That interview was pre-recorded because CNN had a TV right next to their camera which showed the actual live feed. So that interview was being pre-recorded. And
so they're posing parts of the Situation Room. It's not even live.
No, yeah, it wasn't even live. It wasn't live at all. It was pre-recorded interview, and then I'm guessing CNN looked over the tape, saw that he was going to mention that Israel can defend themselves against Iran, and like you mentioned, Wolf Blitzer with his ties to Israel, he had to pull the plug. There's no way they can allow. Why
would they even show it though and cut it off if they were going to cut it? I mean, I know a lot of those shows, Glenn Beck and others, are admittedly taped to air. I've been in CNN headquarters and watched them, doing my interview 30 minutes before it airs, and it looked live with Joy Behar or whatever. I mean, I get that goes on. The View is actually live some days. That was why I was able to say whatever I wanted when I was on there. I went into the green room before I went on and made sure it was live. It was delayed about 15 seconds, but that's semi-live. But, I mean, why? So that's probably the answer of why they would still air it, because... Well, you say you were watching their TVs there. How far behind was it from being live?
It was far behind. I'd say maybe even a minute or so.
Oh, well, that's still essentially that's still essentially pretty much live. So that's why they did air it. But there are problems on the road. I'd say 80% chance they cut it just so they would, be able to make sure that something he was going to say wasn't going to get out. Because, so-called mainstream media in the U.S. will not admit that Israel has nukes. You know that, right?
Well, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, on the nightly news, when you hear the interview, the soldier... We've seen the media's spin on Ron Paul. Oh, Ron Paul's good, but his foreign policy is so awful. CNN, there's no way they can allow a soldier to say Ron Paul's foreign policy is actually good, because the people watching CNN will say, hey, this soldier...
No, I hear you. Julio, we're going to have to get back to you later. Get us that audio. Great job. I got to start jamming calls in right now. But we're going to skip this break because I got to get to everybody right now. We're going to skip this network break here. Let's go to a great job, Julio. We'll talk to you after the show. Let's talk to Chris in Illinois. Been holding for a long time. Chris, you're on the air. Thanks.
Hi, Alex. I saw an anomaly at the Iowa caucus last night. I was an observer. I'm an Illinois resident in Davenport, Iowa's right across the river. At the Radisson Hotel, there was 3 precincts. 2 of them were in one room. I was an observer. Specifically at one of them, it was Scott County D33, and they had a small number of people turned out, 34, and D63 had 263. They were kind of facing opposite directions in the room, and when they gave their speeches, it was all for both groups, okay? But when the votes were being counted, a strange thing happened. The lights turned off. Not when the votes were being counted, but when they were being collected, the lights turned off.
Oh, the lights turned off. That's like in an old whodunit movie. The lights turn off, and 20 seconds later, somebody has a knife in their chest. Let me ask you this. How long were the lights off?
At least 15, 20 seconds. The thing is...
Were you there, or did you see it on television?
I was there. I was taking pictures.
So you're there, and the lights go off, right, like, here's the bag of votes, and it's like... Light goes off.
They're collecting them from the crowd. There was 263 people in.
Oh, and then a special little for Romney. Oh, oh my God! You've got to shoot a YouTube video, sir, with your testimony right now. You've got the floor. Tell us where you were again, what you saw.
I was taking pictures of D33, which only had 34 people, but it was in the same room. And somebody turned a flashlight on pretty quick after the votes went off. And I think that was fair. Ron Paul got 19 votes, Mitt 5, Rick Santorum 5, Newt 4, and some guy, Gary Blunt, got 1. Okay, the other group that was in the same room, there's people handing their votes down the thing. There's people walking down the middle collecting them and stuff. And it was completely different vote. Romney got 106, Santorum 74, Gingrich 40, Paul 31, Perry 9, and Bachmann 3. Now, I personally believe that Paul did not win in that vote, but I think that it's entirely possible that maybe there were supposed to be a lot more.
But that's directly out of a whodunit where the lights turn off and then the lights go back on and something's been stolen or somebody's dead. Anything else you'd like to add? I shouldn't laugh. It's just ridiculous.
It was Davenport, Scott County, D63 at the Radisson in Davenport, and it happened, and all the people there know it happened, and I don't know if this proves anything or whatever, but it's really, really interesting.
I hear you. God bless you. You know, I know the New York Times a few years ago said that I was insane and was at a hotel in Virginia imagining that Bilderberg Group was there. I mean, it's on record. Bilderberg was there. Secret Service was there, and they said that I was thought cars were following me, and that men were in the, behind trees. And they say that I basically had a schizophrenic event when a fire alarm went off. They know full well in my film we're down there eating a hamburger at 11:30 at night before the bar and restaurant close. Myself and Rob Jacobson. I got to go up and do Coast to Coast AM. Right after that, so I guess it was actually about 12:30. It must have been closing at 1 because that's 1 o'clock Eastern. So it's when that show comes on, 1 a.m. And I walk in 5 minutes before. They call me to go on the show, and right as I go on the show, the alarm goes off. But that's not the issue. While I'm down there eating the hamburger, the head of security walks up and says, I don't want, who I'd never talked to in my life. I've been checked in for a few hours. And the hotels, got people in it. It's just a day before Bilderberg gets there, a day and a half. And he says, we have people that come in here and steal vases and things and throw fire alarms. If anyone does it, I'm going to arrest them. And so it was a threat. But then if that wasn't bad enough, I'm going to go to your calls. I went outside during the fire alarm, and a fire truck pulls in, and all the people are out there, and the head of security walks over right in front of Jacobson and others and starts cussing at me and saying, I'm going to get you, Jones, and turn your cameras off. Because some of the guys had cameras 10 feet away, and I was like, get over here. But, I mean, they were trying to blame something on me. The point is 100%. But the media won't even admit that Bilderberg Group was there. I mean, Obama's there with Hillary secretly meeting. It's all over the news. Where's Obama? Where's Obama? A day and a half later. And the media is making fun of me saying it didn't exist. That's how stupid they think you are. Okay, let's go to Donna in New Hampshire. Donna, what's your view on all this?
Hi, Alex. Thanks for taking my call. I was hoping to get in to talk to Bev Harris, and we worked with Bev Harris back in 2008, and I can attest that that was completely rigged, the New Hampshire vote. They had absolutely no chain of custody, just like Bev said, and also their official seal was like a Post-it note. And it was incredible the way that they did it. I was an active Ron Paul supporter in New Hampshire at that time, and we drove all over New Hampshire, and we barely saw McCain signs anywhere. They were for Romney and a lot more for Paul. And that's why I say I hold no illusions as at the fact that on January 10th, we will probably see the same hanky-panky going on.
Well, we know it goes on. And again, I mean, this is about tens of trillions of dollars that these criminal interests control running our nation. This is about launching global domination and war. The government will ship guns to Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. It is certified criminal.
Absolutely. And one other thing I just wanted to interject. As far as Corporal Jesse Thornton or Thorntons, or I forget how his name is pronounced.
Yeah.
I believe... you know, it's going to look like he cannot be aired on TV, and it's going to make it look like CNN did the most conscious thing ever by shutting down the satellite because the military and Army Times do not allow active military in uniform to advocate a candidacy.
And by the way, CNN, it actually came out in WorldNet Daily 12 years ago, mainly uses military satellites. That's how they first got up. I forgot that. And it turned out most of their senior staff are doubling as Pentagon operatives. You can actually type in top CNN staff or Pentagon PSYOPs. Try that real quick, Jeremy, before the show ends. Great points, ma'am. Again, the callers just make very good points. Mark in Oregon, you're going to have to be our tail gunner here. We're almost out of time. We'll be back tonight, 7 o'clock, prisonplanet.tv, the nightly news. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Alex. I tell you what I've got here is going to take longer than you've got left, but I thought I'd just go over it as much as I can.
Real fast. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's really time for Dr. Congressman Paul to stand up against the corrupt political vote rigging system of Republican New World Order operatives. When the victory was stolen from him in New Hampshire in 2004, it was really time to stand up then.
2008.
Stand up now. They will continue to do this every time, and will again be deprived of a president of the people. He has got to stand up. It's the only right thing to do. It's the best sportsmanship. It's not good sportsmanship to lay down for corruption. Isn't that true, Alex?
Well, I mean, we've got the referees openly cheating. And, you know, nobody's offsides. Ron Paul keeps winning. They keep cheating. The other team doesn't even have to take the field. They just give the touchdowns to them and say the game's over. You know, I don't know. If there's total smoking guns, I think Ron Paul would come out. He can't do it without total smoking guns. There's a lot of smoke, but not total smoking guns. Great job to the crew. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Big show tonight. Prisonplanet.tv, 15-day free trial.